So neo-Taylorism in digital age. Neo-Taylorism in digital age is about application and adaptation of the ideas and principles of scientific management as given by F.W. Taylor. Application and adaptation of those ideas and principles to the contemporary organizations, contemporary institutions and organizations which are led by digital technology. So IT has occupied the center stage, whether it is policy making or policy implementation, or for that matter, understanding any task and breaking them into meaningful components, then assigning the task to the most competent individuals or appropriate individuals or members of organization, then going for performance measure, performance evaluation, overall making an organization a self-sustaining organization guided by some kind of impersonal entity, impersonal criteria, so as to achieve regularity and discipline, and some kind of predictability in its operations. So when we talk about these modern organizations guided by information technology based on impersonal criteria or guided by or run by some kind of impersonal entity, we are actually following the legacy of F.W. Taylor. We are following a course of evolution, the point of origin of which can be located in F.W. Taylor's scientific management theory, that is known as Taylorism. Popularly we say Taylorism. So what Taylorism stands for, that tradition of scientific management which was initiated by Taylor and his contemporaries like Fayol and thereafter Gulick and Ulrich and others. So this is the link between the two. Things have undergone changes, but only on the crust. The core remains the same. The core of scientific management was about application of the eyes of science to the world of management. And what is the application of the eyes of science? That we are not going to accept anything in the management of affairs of the organization, any technique, any method, any process, any tool, anything, unless it submits to three questions pertaining to what, how, and why. What cannot be explained in terms of what? What cannot be explained in terms of how? What cannot be explained in terms of why will not be allowed in my organization or in any organization. The spirit of scientific management is about a spirit of investigation and inquiry, to understand the process, to understand any phenomena, breaking them into meaningful components, understanding the pattern of behavior, that sequence, that cause and effect relationship, and so as to develop and to develop the best possible way and best possible manner of doing that work. That is the spirit of scientific management. You never become complacent. You keep searching for betterment. And it is on the basis of systematic study of tool, technique, method, process, whether it is work or whether it is men working in the organization or various subsystems in the organization. So you always try to identify that pattern. This is that pattern on the basis of which a better things could be organized in a much better way. This is the spirit of scientific management. That spirit remains the same. That spirit is there, but it is finding its manifestation. That spirit finds manifestation through modern technology, modern technological paraphernalia. So you talk about artificial intelligence or chat GPT, or for that matter in general the digital technology. So we are using a different technology. We are using the contemporary tools, technique, method, process and technology, but the spirit remains the same. So it means when we talk about the management of different functions in the organization based on data collection, processing, documentation, interpretation, or when we claim to have developed the ability to anticipate things and to deploy appropriate course of action, or when we talk about minimization of the cost, maximization of the output. So to decide how to place the right person at the right place, all such things to a great extent are being done on the basis of digital technology, on the basis of IT and associated tools and technology. Exactly the similar things were being done. There's no difference. The basic things remain the same. It was being done by Taylor using just a pen and register and basic mathematical tools. So the spirit of scientific management is something that holds perpetual relevance. That spirit may find its manifestation through different technologies in their different stages, different time period. The spirit remains the same. The difference between the modern persons associated with contemporary management and F.W. Taylor and his team. What is the difference? Difference is mainly about register, pen, mathematical tools, basic mathematical tools on the side of Taylor, and here you have digital technology. The best of the computers, laptops, mobile, all such things are there, different tools and technology. You making use of that. So the terminology, color of the technology, has architecture of the technology has changed. Okay, but the core content remains the same. What you are trying to achieve, you want to bring some kind of certainty, some kind of predictability in the operations. Better calculation. On the basis of calculation, you want to anticipate things, and you want to bring some kind of certainty, some kind of stability, even in the zone of uncertainty. Exactly similar thing was being done by Taylor without using these tools and technology. He was using just basic things, very basic things. As I said, the pen and the register and mathematical tools, statistical tools, and he was also controlling things on the basis of facts. So fact-based control. Impersonal entity, organization becoming an impersonal entity, control being organization on the basis of facts. Supervision, no human supervision, fact-based supervision. Control, no human control, less of human control, fact-based control. Allocation of work based on systematic study. You study a work, you study men, and then you send right person to the right place. So development of science of work, science of men, then developing better tools, techniques, methods, process, so as to maximize the output and to minimize the cost of operation. This was all about, not all, you can say, some major component of, I will discuss in F.W. Taylor's chapter. So this is all about F.W. Taylor scientific management. So have a look here. Division of work, specialization, standardization of tools, techniques, method and process, division of work, specialization, science of work and science of men, performance measure, performance-based incentive, optimizing workforce, fact-based supervision and control. And all such things were being done. Why? To achieve efficiency, economy and price competitiveness. So higher the level of efficiency, the lesser will be the cost of production. The lesser the cost of production, and the better will be the price of the product. You will be competitive and you can sell the product at a lesser price. So ultimately consumers will be benefited because of low price, and employers are benefited. Why? Because of low price and competitiveness, more and more units will be sold in the market. So employers are benefited by high turnover, and employees are benefited by better wages. So Taylor's scientific management was all about developing a self-sustaining positive cycle of operation, optimizing the workflows, minimizing the cost of production, maximizing the output, maximizing the profit for the employers. So employers are benefited because of better market participation. Employees are benefited because it is assumed that if organizations are making huge profit, they will not mind sharing a greater amount of profit and net profit of the organization as salaries and wages. And then consumers are benefited because of high quality goods and services at a very low or competitive price. So Taylorism, neo-Taylorism in the digital age. So Taylor's ideas hold relevance even today, but it is manifested in organizations through digital technology. So core remains the same, the crust is different. So neo-Taylorism in digital. Now break up this word. Taylorism, you know very well. Taylorism is associated with sum total of all those ideas and the principles of scientific management, which led to the beginning of the tradition of scientific management, that we are not going to accept anything in the management of organization which is not intelligible, which is not amenable to analysis on the basis of what, how and why. We will not allow any practice in the organization, any technique, any method, process of doing the work unless it submits to the requirement of what, how and why. Everything has to be tested, has to be properly tested in the light of logic and reasoning and cause and effect relationship. What cannot lead to desirable consequences is not to be retained. So Taylor's scientific management was basically about applying the eyes of science to the world of management. Even a hammer cannot be allowed. Cannot be allowed in the organization organization unless it has been subjected to systematic study and you reach the conclusion that the weight of the hammer should be 4.5 kgs, not 5, not 4 kgs. Why? Because on the basis of a study, it is revealed that at this weight, when hammer is of this weight, then it leads to maximization of the output or increase in efficiency of the organization. So identifying that optimal point for most of the things is all about scientific management. And ultimate objective is to maximize the benefit for employers, employees, okay, and the consumers. Overall, developing a self-sustaining and a progressive cyclical relationship. Organizations become a self-sustaining process, benefiting its employers and employees and benefiting the society. This is all about scientific management, and this is exactly what the contemporary organizations are also looking for. Because contemporary organization, contemporary world, we know that we are living in an increasingly globalizing world. And we are living in a world, or we are the part of that economy which is characterized by, we are part of an economy which is characterized by institutional pluralism, a lot of competition. In the different sectors of economy, you have more than one organizations, more than one institutions, domestic as well as foreign, and they are working in the same domains, selling the same goods and services. Therefore, stiff is the competition, very stiff competition, and Darwin's principle has become very much relevant. It means survival of the fittest. So an organization to survive has to produce best of the things at a very competitive price. And this is here that the contemporary organizations, once again, they have come to realize the significance of what F.W. Taylor had propounded in 1910. So Taylor's ideas, there is a resurgence in interest. Taylor's ideas are becoming more important. Organizations, one after another, are realizing that if we really want to survive and we want to grow, that we will have to apply and adapt the principles of scientific management. We have to apply those principles of scientific management to the management of organization in contemporary times. Though we are making use of digital technology, digital infrastructure, also things are there, but the core ideas has to be same. It's inspired by Taylor's scientific management, constantly working for improvement, investigating, analyzing things, identifying different components, improving every single component of the work, appointing persons on the basis of rigorous analysis that what kind of person is required in the organization. Then proper training has to be organized, scientifically designed training so as to improve their capabilities, breaking the word into specialized components, different components, so that every component gets specialized over a period of time. And then for every component, you appoint appropriate persons. In this way, organizations can become far more competent, organizations can perform better and can bring down the efficiency, can bring down the cost of production, and they can improve their the efficiency, and they can maximize their output and income. This is exactly what we talk about when we talk about this is what about neo-Taylorism in digital age. So core idea remains the same. Neo means, what is the meaning of neo? Neo does not mean new. Neo means that something did exist in the past. Okay? And then there can be a time period, there can be some interregnum period when its relevance got overshadowed for some time, and after a gap of time, once again you realize the significance of those principles and ideas, and you revive it, you modify it to suit the contemporary realities and challenges, to avail of certain opportunities. So neo is not that kind of new which begins from the start line. Neo means that something did exist and it is being revived, or it is being applied in a more modified form to make it more relevant, to the contemporary challenges, problems and opportunities. This is about neo-Taylorism. So idea of Taylorism is not new. That idea of Taylorism, idea associated with Taylorism, or principles of scientific management, which is associated with Taylorism. This is something which was propounded in the first few decades of 20th century. And in contemporary times, once again, we are realizing the significance of that. It does not mean that idea and the principle lost its relevance, but different theories came into existence and different theories were propounded by scholars, human relations school of thought or behavioral school of thought. To some extent, it was overshadowed. Some critics said that Taylor's scientific management is applicable only to the factory floor of the organization. It has very limited relevance only for those organizations involved in technical activities, production of goods and services, etc. But in contemporary times, it is being realized, it is being appreciated that Taylor's scientific management is not about factory floor management, like time study, motion study, fatigue study. All of you have studied Taylor's scientific management. So it is not just about application of, it is not just about factory floor management by studying the men or studying work. This is not the core content. Core content is a spirit of investigation. Though the Taylor manifested and demonstrated the principles of scientific management on the factory floor, how to manage workers, how to divide the work between management and workers, then how to identify the best possible ways and means of doing a particular work, the tool, technique, method, process, differential, piece rate system. He discussed all such things and he demonstrated how to exercise it. But if you examine Taylor's scientific management simply on the basis of these things, time study, motion study, fatigue study, how to manage factory flow, then you are not proximate to its core, the core idea. The core idea is not about management of factory floor. Core idea is about investigation and inquiry. It is about developing the science of work, developing science of men, developing science of structure. Lot many things are there. You should not accept anything unless it has been properly examined scientifically. That you break that system, that phenomena into various components, you identify the discernible pattern, then you work on every component and then you bring them together. It is about analyzing things and then synthesizing things. It's analysis and synthesis. So that finally the best way of doing a particular work is examined, it is explored, is identified, and then you follow the same to bring down the cost of production so as to improve your price competitiveness. Clear? So high quality goods and services at a very competitive price. Employers benefited, employees benefited, and society is also, employees are benefited, and society is also benefited. Consumers are benefited. This is about Taylorism. And that Taylorism, once again, it has been revived. It has been revived, but is being manifested through digital infrastructure, digital technology. Point is clear? कम से कम शब्द में अगर समझना हो तो साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट का कोर जैसा था वो कोर आज भी बिल्कुल वैसा ही है. बस उस वक्त ये चीज़ें मैनुअली की जा रही थी, वो आप रजिस्टर, पेन, मैथमेटिकल टूल्स इन सबसे कर रहे हैं, और आज ये सारी चीज़ें हम लोग कंप्यूटर्स के थ्रू कर रहे हैं. आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस और अलग अलग जो इसके साथ एसोसिएटेड टूल्स और टेक्निक्स है इसके थ्रू कर रहे हैं. सो द कोर मैनिफेस्टेशन जो है वो दोनों का अलग अलग दिख रहा है, लेकिन कोर रिमेन्स द सेम. दिस इज ऑल अबाउट neo-Taylorism in digital age, and this is about Taylorism. Taylorism about standardization of tools, techniques, method and process. Standardization of tool, technique, method, process. Standardization, that you go for the you examine a particular tool, technique, method, process, you go for the systematic study, you conduct research, okay, and out of various courses of action you choose the one which is the most efficient or which is the best way of doing the thing. This is regarding tool, this is regarding technique. There can be 5 or 7, 10 different techniques of doing a particular work, but you have to identify that technique of doing the work which involves list of input in terms of time, money, energy, and which maximize the output. Accordingly, you choose the best tool, you choose the best technique, the best method and process of doing the things. That is standardized. And once you have standardized certain tools, techniques, method, process, it means it becomes a reference point on the basis of which you can decide what is right or what is wrong, what is efficient or what is inefficient. Accordingly, you can measure the performance of employees. You can measure the performance of different workers, different members of the organization. There has to be a reference point. Then only you can go for performance measure or performance evaluation. And that reference point, comes through standardization. You standardize everything. Hammer ऐसा ही होगा. मशीन इस ढंग से ही काम करेगी. यही एक प्रोसेस है. ठीक है. द टेक्निक, इसी टेक्निक से ये काम किया जाएगा. इस ढंग के वर्कर्स ही इस काम को कर सकते हैं. तो सारी चीज़ों को आपने स्टैंडर्डाइज कर दिया. ठीक है, स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन ऑफ टूल्स, टेक्निक्स, मेथड एंड प्रोसेस, देन डिवीजन ऑफ वर्क एंड स्पेशलाइजेशन. This is something which is the outcome of science of work. You study a particular work and then you break that work into different components meaningfully. You divide the work into different, you can say, sub work components of the work, and different workers are asked to do that component of work in which they have some kind of advantage, and gradually in the course of time they become specialists in doing different components of the work. So overall the work can be accomplished, that work can be done with highest level of efficiency and economy. Then you have science of work and science of men. Science of work, science of men is about understanding the science of work, different components, time, money, energy required to complete that work. And science of men, that you don't appoint anybody, you do not appoint or you do not deploy your the human resource without systematic study of the same. So you know your nature of organization, you know the nature of your organization, the goals and objectives that you want to accomplish, different kind of work which is required to be done, and accordingly, on the basis of the nature of work, because you appoint persons in the organization. Science of, focusing on specific qualifications. You do not appoint persons without systematic study of what is required and what kind of talent, what level of competence and skill is required, for the person who is going to be appointed to any position. So science of work and the science of men, you bring them together, that constitute the very core of scientific management. And then performance measure, performance evaluation I've discussed. Then you have a performance based incentive. Taylorism is about performance based incentive. Why? To motivate the workers in the organization, that you set a standard. If you perform better than this, then you will get a bonus or incentive. If you perform less than that, you are punished. So the reward or punishment kind of arrangement, so as to elicit the best of services from the members of organization. Then optimizing workflows, different kind of work connected to one another. You optimize the process. That yes, you give certain instructions, you set into motion activities one after another, and you maintain a particular pace. You follow a particular path, which on the basis of systematic study has been identified to be the best path and the best way, best coordination, best pace of doing the work to ultimately accomplish that desirable output with the list of input. So optimizing the workflows. You are neither too fast, you are not too slow. You are working at a level which will ultimately benefit the organization in the net effect. So optimizing the workflows, and then fact-based supervision and control. Taylor was never in favor of human control. So members are working in the organization, but the control was to be exercised. Control was to exercise more by facts than human beings. फैक्ट बेस्ड कंट्रोल, फैक्ट बेस्ड सुपरविजन. हम तुम्हारे पीछे दौड़ते फिरते नहीं रहेंगे, ये काम करो, वो करो, यहाँ क्यों टाइम बर्बाद कर रहे हो, इस जगह पे क्यों. हमने एक स्टैंडर्ड तय कर दिया कि शाम को 5 बजे तक इतने यूनिट तक तुमने प्रोड्यूस अगर किया तो नॉर्मल पेमेंट जो होता है वो होगा. इससे बेटर अगर आपने परफॉर्म किया तो आपको बोनस मिलेगा. इससे कम अगर परफॉर्म किया तो पनिशमेंट, लेस देन नॉर्मल, आपका पेमेंट वैसा होगा. एक दिन का अगर फिक्स है 500 रुपीज़, तो आपने अगर 20 यूनिट, एक स्टैंडर्ड है, 20 यूनिट से ज़्यादा आपने अगर कोई प्रोडक्शन के 20 यूनिट से ज़्यादा कोई प्रोडक्ट अगर बना दिया तो उसके हिसाब से आपको सरप्लस मिल जाएगा. 500 की जगह पे 600 या 700, और आपने उससे कम अगर बनाया तो यू विल बी पनिश्ड, यू विल गेट ओनली 400 ओनली. और नॉर्मल अगर आप रहे तो नॉर्मल पेमेंट. सो ही ब्रॉट अ काइंड ऑफ रिवोल्यूशन in the payment of wages and payment of wages to the members of organization. Earlier organization सबको एक ही पेमेंट देते थे. इसका मतलब कोई अगर बहुत एफिशिएंट है या इनएफिशिएंट है कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता. लेकिन टेलर ने इसको चेंज कर दिया. आज भी सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में परफॉर्मेंस बेस्ड इंसेंटिव दिया जाता है. इसका मतलब कि what was identified by Taylor, what was identified by F.W. Taylor as the part of scientific management to promote efficiency and economy, to make organizations economically more viable. It is something which is being shown due interest to, or which has been adopted by the modern organizations. The manifestation is through digital infrastructure or digital technology. The core remains the same. So data-driven performance monitoring. Today, we are making use of information technology. We are using artificial intelligence. We collect intelligence data, statistics. We go for the processing of the same, processing and documentation, and accordingly, we exercise control over different operations of the organization. So data-driven performance monitoring. You do not monitor things, as an individual. You do not monitor things manually. You monitor things and the performance on the basis of facts, on the basis of data. I am not going to listen to your stories, these and that. What we have done, it is there on the screen. This is something which was allocated. This task was allocated to you, and the time which was given for this task was 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever thing it is, and you have not completed it. Because this is funnel. We are not going to entertain any excuse. Generally, most of the organizations are moving towards, all over the world, they are moving. Large, big organizations, they have a kind of compulsion. They cannot control thousands of people working in the organization on the basis of human control. So data-driven performance measure, data-driven performance evaluation, data-driven monitoring and surveillance and supervision, this has become the reality of the day. So things are to be controlled on the basis of fact. This is common with tailored scientific management, but this is being done with digital technology. This is the difference. Then we have algorithmic management. What is algorithm? Algorithm, as we know, algorithm is about identifying that process, that definite process between input and output. Then when you examine some things, if you succeed in understanding that pattern, that flow of the things, that how different subsystems, how different constituent parts in that phenomena, how they connect to one another, what sequence they follow so as to convert input into output. A kind of a set of instructions which are given, which set certain activities in a particular order, one after another, and that leads to accomplishment of the output. You repeat the same, you get the same consequence. You keep repeating and you get the same consequence. Then you can claim to have developed the algorithm of the same, or you have understood the algorithm of the same. Algorithmic management is all about the management wherein different activities, different functions have been understood systematically, a pattern has been understood, and accordingly, it is a kind of automated management that once you set into motion, once you pass an instruction, and thereafter it follows a pattern, a sequence, in rhythmically, and finally it leads to accomplishment of the objective. This is something which was being done by Taylor on the basis of his systematic study, tools, mathematical tools and statistics. He was also looking for the same, and he succeeded in doing so. But he was not making use of computer, was not available. So it was just like mathematical calculation. But impersonal criterions were there. Impersonal criterions had been set on the basis of systematic study of the science, or systematic study of the work and the men, that this has to be done. And once I say this has to be done, it has to be done. Orders, instructions have been issued, then it has to be followed by different groups and different individuals in proper sequence without any defiance, so that the final goal is accomplished on the basis of identified pattern. And this pattern has been designed to achieve highest level of efficiency. What Taylor was doing manually, although it was an impersonal setting, this is something which is being done on the basis of information technology. But the core remains the same. Here the Taylor was very much clear that input, this much input is required, and this will lead to that much of output. Things are definite. But this input will lead to that much of output only when this process which has been identified, which has been understood, this process has been identified on the basis of systematic study. When this process is followed, there is no deviation, then it will lead to this kind of consequences. We are doing the same thing, but with the help of information technology, artificial intelligence, algorithmic management, then task division and specialization. Today we are making use of information technology to understand the work, to break that particular work on the basis of data, statistics and facts associated with that scientific study, taking help of information technology. We break the work into various meaningful components, and then we also decide that how much of human resource, or how many persons are required to accomplish a particular work, and which tool technique will be the best. So today also we are going for division of work, specialization, identification of different tasks, allocation of the task, then deploying your human resource, at different levels in the organization to get the things done. These things are being done on the basis of information technology. So task division and specialization we are doing so. Why? To maximize the efficiency, to maximize the output. This is being done by the contemporary organizations. Efficiency and cost optimization. The ultimate objective is to achieve efficiency and to bring down the cost of production. It has become important, more particularly in the wake of increasingly globalizing world. Every organization is competing with tens of other organizations, domestic and foreign, in the same sphere of economic activities, or in its own, the area of goods and services. So only those who are fit will survive. So Darwin's principle of survival of the fittest is actually determining things in the economic arena also. The one who is fit will survive. And that's why organizations are under immense pressure to identify the best way of doing the work, to reduce the cost of production. And it is here that they are banking on the Taylor's scientific management. Okay, so then you have impact on workforce. Taylor's scientific management was criticized by many scholars at that time that it is actually leading to dehumanization of the work. The work will fail to carry the human touch. That human touch in the work was it was done away with by the application of the technique, method and process based on scientific study. So Taylor also opted for dehumanization of work. That personal touch, that personal element in the work was replaced by the standard tools, techniques, method and process developed by researchers after systematic study of things. नहीं सर, हैमर हम बाएं हाथ से चलाना कंफर्टेबल रहता है, मैं ऐसे ही चलाता हूँ, मैं इस तरह के हैमर को यूज़ करता हूँ, मुझे ये इतने शूज़ ऐसे पहनना पसंद नहीं है, मैं तो ऐसे ही चप्पल पहन के काम करता हूँ. ऐसा नहीं करेगा. टेलर सर, डीह्यूमनाइजेशन ऑफ आपका जो पर्सनल टच है आपने 50 साल में सीखा है, 40 साल में, उससे टेलर को मतलब नहीं है. उस पर्टिकुलर वर्क को उन्होंने स्टडी किया, उसको साइंटिफिकल स्टडी किया और लेबोरेटरी कंडीशंस में सब कुछ देखा कि नहीं, यही तरीका सबसे सही है, इस ढंग से हिट करना ही सबसे अच्छा तरीका है, हैमर का साइज़ ये होना चाहिए, यूनिफॉर्म ऐसा होना चाहिए, ठीक है, इस काम को इतने समय फिनिश कर देना चाहिए. तो पर्सनल टच को नहीं, आप किस में कंफर्टेबल है नहीं है, दैट इज़ नॉट अ मैटर ऑफ माई कंसर्न. ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जितने भी वर्कर्स हैं वो एक तरह के काम जितने लोग कर रहे हैं वो एक खास तरीके से ही करेंगे जैसा कि डिस्कवर किया गया है साइंटिफिकली. ठीक है, बस वो तरीका जो है बेस्ट तरीका है, इसमें हाईएस्ट लेवल ऑफ एफिशिएंसी होगी. यही है डीह्यूमनाइजेशन ऑफ वर्क. तो इसमें अच्छी बात है कि दैट विल लीड्स टू इंक्रीज इन एफिशिएंसी, यूनिफॉर्मिटी, स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन, लीडिंग टू एफिशिएंसी एंड इकोनॉमी. बट लिमिटिंग फैक्टर इज दिस दैट मेनी वर्कर्स माइट end up performing lesser than what they could have performed had they been allowed to follow the technique, method or the process which they had developed personally over a long period of time. So it may also have implications for the level of motivation. When you are not allowed to do certain things, following habit and manner which you have personally developed over the years, it may lead to some kind of friction and it will lead to some kind of demotivation. Similar kind of things can be seen even today, that things are being identified, things are being designed, things are being allocated on the basis of information technology, artificial intelligence. To that extent, it is also leading to humanizing of work. That most of the things are being done by information technology, and you are assigned a particular portion of the task, and you are required to do that in a particular manner. Clear? So therefore, there is little scope for the expression of your creativity. I am talking about at the middle level, the lower level. At topmost level, if there is an expression of creativity, that creativity is of more of the engineers. At topmost level, they are developing the software or something. But a large portion of the human resource of the organization, most of the members of the organization will end up becoming like a robot, that you just need to do that, and for that training has been given to you. There will be little room for personal discretion or little room for expression of creativity. So all the creativity has been applied at the time of development of software. It has been after that everybody has to follow the instruction, and that instruction too is not personal. That is an impersonal instruction to be complied with. Okay? And things are required to be submitted, and your performance will be subjected to evaluation, and accordingly you will get incentives, rewards or punishment, whatever thing it is. So here also some kind of dehumanizing is taking place, not at the topmost level but at most of the levels in the organization. So you have become an instrument to be used by an impersonal entity. So impact on workforce, and then you have resurgence in interest of late because of in the cut and thrust of competition, and because the imperatives of thanks to imperatives of performing in the best possible manner and bringing down the cost of production. All such things have led to resurgence of lot of interest in tailored scientific management. That's why modern organizations, contemporary organizations are exhibiting much interest in tailored scientific management. Okay, but the core of scientific management is being applied through the digital infrastructure. So neo-Taylorism in digital age. So in digital age, we have Taylorism, but Taylorism modified and revived. That is known as neo-Taylorism. So this is Taylorism and this is neo-Taylorism. The traditional age-old organizations in during the first few decades of 20th century, organizations are following Taylorism to maximize their efficiency, and today the contemporary organizations they are applying the same Taylorism but in a different form, and the objective remains the same. Here also they were trying to maximize the output to bring down the cost of production to achieve high level of efficiency, and here also the objective is same. In fact, contemporary organizations are under immense pressure, much more than what these organizations were. Okay, so contemporary organizations are under immense pressure to perform because environmental conditions have undergone drastic changes. At that time, tailored scientific management came to the rescue of organizations because one after another, many organizations had collapsed. Why? Because they were struggling to develop, to develop and to bring management on scientific lines. There was a kind of chaos. Organizations had no experience of working with 20,000, 25,000 workers at that time. The Taylor's scientific management, Taylor's principles of scientific management brought some kind of regularity, some kind of discipline, and facilitated an organized collective effort to accomplish the ultimate objective. Okay, and today organizations are not struggling then how to manage the things, but they are struggling, they are competing against one another. Competition is very stiff. It is just not enough that you are doing well today and your market participation is very good. So today you are comfortably placed, but you have to work today only to ensure that tomorrow you are not thrown off the path. You will be thrown out if you are not dynamic. If you are gradually, what is happening? That being proactive is essential to ensure your survival. Growth and development is a different thing. Earlier, being proactive was a very extraordinary kind of thing, that you are not dealing with the contemporary challenges, you are also anticipating things in future. In contemporary times, it is not a head turner kind of thing, that you are a proactive approach is gradually it is becoming a new normal. So that's why organizations have understood, and they have started appreciating the significance of tailored scientific management. The same ideas, but in a different form. The core remains the same. So neo-Taylorism in digital age. Thank you.